Hey, let me check in with Mrs. Mcknz, Miss Mcknz actually, by Anthony Trollope, an 1865 novel, which follows Miss Mcknz, who has spent most of her adult life tending for first her aged and sick father, and then her sick older brother, who then dies and leaves her his entire fortune, cutting out his younger brother who went into the trades, which is quite a shock, a very looked down upon thing. And indeed, he's not even very good in his trades and his business with his partner. Now the junior, it was Samuel Rubb Senior, but now it's Samuel Rubb Junior, is actually failing, and they've gotten a loan from her, and it turns out that they can't actually give her the security of the building that they were supposed to have bought because they already mortgaged that all off to secure other creditors. So it seems that Samuel Rubb Jr. perpetrated a fraud upon her, which she's basically okay and is prepared to kind of just sort of let that go as a kind of a gift to her brother, because she's a really nice, good person, and it's not that much money of her thing, and she's anxious to make sure that Tom Mackenzie and his really kind of continually bitching wife, who's just like, oh, we should have gotten the money, you shouldn't have gotten the money, this is totally unfair, and every bit of kindness she just complains in response. But and it's funny because I think I left off the last time going like, I hope she can find somebody, either she finds somebody that she actually does want to be with, or does she really need to get married? That's why I left off on chapter 10. Chapter 11 opens with the narrator saying how basically women need to get married. That men need to get married, but women especially need to get married, it seems. Or it tells upon them even more so than men. And this is the natural way of things and stuff like that. It's like, oh, okay. Well, at least I know where I'm standing with this narrator, this author. And yes, we go through the suitors in this thing. We get a lot of stuff of what the hell is his name? Mr. McVee. I can't even remember it. He is a kind of a sub-curate of Mr. Stumford, the evangelical set, and has been wooing her. But and he's definitely pressing his case. Miss Stumford, however, interferes and starts saying like, oh, you shouldn't be with him. He could have a bunch of other wives for all you know, and just basically it's a perfect mirror to what Miss Lady Ball did, the Baronetess Ball did to her, of saying, of interfering, putting her oar in, and expecting that Miss Mcknz is going to kind of, wilt, that mistaking her quiet manner for someone who doesn't actually have spirit, doesn't have oomph, which she does, and she kind of tells the old lady to buzz. She told Stumford to buzz off, Miss Stumford to buzz off, but but she does get to say what she wanted to say, which is that the guy has some other, might have some attachment to another woman. Mrs. Stumford puts it as someone who is younger and far more suitable to her, which really kind of whaps on a lot of her insecurities about age and about just about being suitable. She doesn't have great self-image. She doesn't cry in front of Miss Stumford. She'd rather die than do that. But afterwards, she is really, really down in the dumps over that. However, he does come back and, protests his case, but is also somebody who, through kind of, things with friends and stuff like that, you do get the sense that he's kind of just kind of the stuck-up kind of prig who's just, he wants her for her money, because he's a poor curate and he used the money for stuff. She's not quite bad off for that, but she just really doesn't give a shit about him either. So we have that. Yeah, yeah. And actually, it's interesting in this section, we do actually have the stuff with John Ball coming back. Ball? Yeah, Ball coming back, where he's actually a nice fellow. He's actually a decent fellow who actually does seem to kind of care for Miss Mcknz, despite all the stuff and despite his mother being an interfering twerp who feels like, oh no, we're entitled to the money, kind of all this stuff. Um, and oh, see, I'm losing stuff in here. I've lost a segment, but they end up going to the lawyer because, oh well, they end up going to the lawyer because what happens is that she gets word that Tom Mcknz has got, oh, I think it's like stomach cancer, something has an ulcer that has suddenly come up, and he's going to die very rapidly. The curate guy, Mr. McBee or whatever the fuck his name is, actually makes a play for it. Says like, "Oh, before you go, you should commit to marrying me." It's like, I'm not going to do that. You're you're taking advantage of a situation where I've got like a major family emergency, just trying to wring out a commitment from me. That's not happening. And I mean, she does it in a very polite and quiet way, but she basically lays it down like that, which is like, damn good for her. She goes, she sits at the bed, she endures her Miss Tom's abuse quite patiently and, like, with good nature. She's just like such a good person. Does promise to her brother that she will take care of his family after he passes away, because yes, Mr. Samuel Rubb Jr. has basically he controls all the finances. I don't know if he's just milking the business for all the money, or swindling them, or just really mismanaging it, but he has no money. So she quite willingly kind of commits, like, yeah, so what I'll do is, like, there's no way I'm ever going to freaking live with Miss Tom, but I will have my thing, so I will still have enough. I don't need that much. It's going to be a step down for her, but I'll do that. And she commits to that, and indeed she goes to the balls. She gets invited to them next, and they really are like, no, you can't do that. That's not your money, and you should be going to Tom and to John and all this stuff. And she's like, no, I've made that decision. I'm gonna. But she actually does take John with her, because she actually does trust John, this middle-aged guy who's actually fairly kind of quietly decent himself. And